Hi guys, my name is Nolita and welcome to the world of K. I'm your host for the next 25 minutes. So today we are talking about K-pop. And obviously within K-pop, we are looking at another issue that is plaguing the music industry in Korea, and that is colorism. So if you go on Google and you search colorism, typically what you'll see is a lot of women of different shades within the Black community. And that is what is associated basically with colorism. But colorism also exists in other races too. Asians can also be colorist. Indians can also be colorist. Latinos can also be colorist. Other races can also be colorist as well. But I think in mainstream media, it's mostly associated with Black women. But Black women aren't the only ones who experience colorism. Okay? And obviously, if you're a K-pop fan, you know that colorism is very, very common. And an example that comes to the top of my mind is when EXO from SM Entertainment, they went on an interview and somehow, Suho, I don't know out of which, ridiculous hole he crept out of, decided to say, well, I like Kai because his skin color reminds me of black coffee. And we as the audience, we were like, okay, so what on earth is this? What is going on? People took to social media to obviously say Suho is colorist. He's problematic. And Suho and a lot of other members of EXO have always teased Kai on his skin color because Kai is a little bit tanned where everybody else in the group is light skinned. Well, actually, everybody else in the group thinks that they're light skinned. They think that they are pale. But the thing is, it's only BB cream. so that's the only difference, is that the other members have BB cream on, but without the BB cream, they don't look as pale as they are. Yes, they are still lighter compared to Kai, but they are still also considered tanned according to Korean standards. So I don't know why they're acting like they are in a superior than Kai. If Kai is supposedly inferior, I don't understand. I don't get where that comes from. And this one time, one of the members, Chanyeol, went on social media and put up drawings of himself and the rest of the members. Everybody else, the what is this now? The pictures were drawn perfectly. And everybody, of course, was pale except for Kai. Kai was colored in a black marker and his lips were made to look thick. So not only was he, considered the black one in the group, but they were like Chanyeol low-key created a caricature of Kai, a black caricature, basically. So kind of like what they did in America, when they were trying to ridicule black people. Yeah, so he was kind of like doing that, which was terrible. And we can see the mentality that this idol group has, because a month ago, Chen, also from EXO, he was putting lipstick on his lips, obviously. And he said, oh my goodness, look, and he smudged the lipstick on him. I think it was like a brown lipstick. I'm not sure, a brown or red lipstick. So he smudged the lipstick on his face, on his lips, to the point where his lips looked bigger than what they actually are. And he said, oh my goodness, my lips are so big, like Kunta Kinte. So basically, he was making fun of the fact that he was making fun of black people, saying that they have thick lips, and he was bringing Kunta Kinte into the whole situation. And people were like, why on earth are you bringing a slave into this? Like, so you can see the type of thought processes that or rather EXO has, and how they're very colorist and also very racist. Okay, so Kai has always had to experience, ridicule for his skin color. And this one time he went on a radio show with the rest of the members, and they were asking him what his ideal type is. So he said his ideal type is a pure girl. And people are like, oh, pure as in she's fair-skinned. And she was like, no, I mean pure as in she's innocent-minded. I mean that. So people automatically assumed that he wanted a light-skinned, well, when I say light-skinned, I'm talking about Korean standards. I'm not talking about international standards, because our standard of what a light-skinned person is very different. So according to Korean terms, when I mean light skin, I mean a very pale porcelain skin person. So these people assumed that he wanted that type of woman because he is, according to Korean terms, dark. Yeah. And we can see a lot of Korean idols in Korea where when they take pictures or when they're in interviews, there's so much filter on the videos and images that if there's a black wall, or rather, sorry, a white wall behind the idol, literally their skin looks like it's going to fade into the background, into that wall, because that's how white their skin is, because of the BB cream, the powders, the foundations, and also because of the filters that they use. However, when they come to America and they perform, the American media ain't got time to be filtering, putting white filters on. So you can see their true natural color, and people get shocked and they're like, oh my goodness, what is going on? Why on earth are you doing this? Why on earth is the Korean media doing this to these idols? Which is adding, again, more insecurities to these idols. Because in these interviews that they have outside, they're always worried, oh, can you put an umbrella here? Oh, can you put like shade over here, because I don't want to get tanned. I don't want the skin, I don't want the sun to touch my skin type of situation. They get so panicking. There was this one Korean idol from GOT7, Young Jae. He said that he doesn't like when his skin is pale. He actually would prefer tan skin, but unfortunately, because of the rules in K-pop, he can't have tan skin. All of this dates back to ancient Korea, where the Asians, or rather in Asian society in Korea and in other parts around the world, other Asian societies, where the royals would be indoors and, you know, they were doing their royal thing, you know, being rich and whatnot, and how everybody else, the poor people, were outside working in the fields, and so they got darker. And so dark-skinned, or well, tan skin, was associated with poverty, impurity, dirt, whereas light-skinned, or aka pale skin, according to Korean terms, was a sign of wealth, purity, daintiness, you know, first class type of, you know, situation. And it's still quite active today. That mentality is still quite active today. And yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But what can we do? There's nothing we can do. Yeah, it's just frustrating. And another idol group that is quite common or quite known for colorist, you know, colorist things that they subtly put on the media is BTS, Bangtan. And well, I'll just play this for you so that you can listen. Just listen to what Rap Monster is saying, and we'll come back.
Hello, my name is Joyce from Officially K Music.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
What was your first impression when you all first met each other?
When I first saw V and J-Hope, I couldn't see them because they were too black. So, yeah, when the nights get dark, I couldn't find them.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a perfect example of a colorist mind or colorist mentality. And fans went on social media and they were like, well, what if I go on a show, or what if I go to watch, you know, BTS live? Will Rap Monster they say to me that he couldn't see me because it was dark. Like, will he, make fun of my skin color? It creates a lot of insecurities on the part of K-pop international idol fans, especially the ones that are black or the ones that are POC, might not be white or not white, but are POC. People of color, basically. And in the video, or in the clip that I played, it's actually a video, but in the clip that I played, if you watch the video version of it, V was very angry. He was upset, but the person who was the most upset was Jungkook. Like, he didn't understand why on earth, Rap Master was saying the things that he was saying. And it was quite evident. And the journalists who were asking the questions laughed the whole situation away. And, well, there's nothing you can do about it. Maybe they didn't agree with what Rap Monster was saying, but, it's your job. You're there to interview the person. You can't be criticizing, the K-pop idol, or else they'll never return to your country again to perform. And you're going to lose your job because BTS is highly respected around the world, so you can't criticize them. Even their fans will destroy you if you think about even criticizing any of their members. So yeah, it's that hectic. So these journalists couldn't do anything and they just laughed it off, whether it was because of the fact that they were nervous or whether they were agreeing with Rap Monster. We'll never really know. We can't read their minds. But it was quite shocking, the way, the journalist literally asked, what was your first impressions about each other? And for Rap Monster to say the skin color, it didn't make sense. Like, is that the first thing that you think about when you meet someone? Like, it shocks me. And going back to EXO, there's a member of the group Shiny, also from the same entertainment group, from the same SM entertainment group. And Taemin said that when you first met EXO's Kai, he thought that EXO Kai was from Brazil. He thought that Kai was mixed race. And if you are to look at Kai, which is the picture of this podcast episode, you'll see that he does not in any way look black or mixed raced, or he does not look like he is from Brazil, or rather he does not look Latino or Latin. And I don't understand where Taemin got his information from, but Kai is not black or mixed race at all. And again, this goes back to the whole body dysmorphia thing, where Kai feels insecure about his skin color, where a lot of these idols feel insecure about their skin color, where it's very apparent when they are outside and they're so scared of being near the sun because they're gonna get tanned. Another reason why they're scared is because they know they're gonna get in trouble with their managers, because their managers are very strict. And it's so ironic. These managers, they themselves are tanned, they are short, they are fat, but they are so critical of these idols. They're like, no, you need to lose weight. No, you need to be light-skinned. No, you need to look beautiful. But then they themselves are the exact epitome of what they don't want the idols to be. So all of these idols, K-pop idols, are so scared of their managers. So even if they are outside, they need to make sure, that they stay away from the sun. And some of these managers will chase them down the street with an umbrella, so that they can use the umbrella to shield themselves from the rays of the sun. It is ridiculous. It is shocking. And we in the West don't do this type of things. We don't do them at all. We are pretty chilled when it comes to situations like this. If you get tanned, you get tanned. If you get dark-skinned, you get dark-skinned. It's okay. You move on. Maybe some of the people will put some BB cream here and there, because trust me, I've seen some people in South Africa doing that. But for the most part of it, like, colorism does exist, but not to the extent of Korea. Not to the extent where your entertainment company will literally abuse you, physically abuse you, because you did something wrong. Not to that point. Like it's not that strict. It's your well-being is not in danger, basically, compared to in Korea. Everything they do is monitored, so they can't mess up, they can't slip up, and they need to make sure that they don't go out and be tanned. It's just the way it is, unfortunately. There's nothing we can say to change the minds of these entertainment companies, because, well, we don't have any power, we don't have any shares. So whenever we discuss these things on social media, we discuss them for ourselves so that we don't get affected by them mentally. It is not to influence the company, because the company doesn't care, even though they should care, because a lot of us put our time and money into these content that these companies are pushing out. They should be listening to us, but they don't, because they know that even if international fans from South Africa, America, these Western countries, even if they stop listening to K-pop, a lot of Asian countries love K-pop, not just Korea, a lot of Asian countries, and they don't criticize colorism the way we, the West, do. They don't criticize colorism, they don't criticize racism, they don't criticize body shaming, they don't criticize all of these things, because they themselves in their own respective cultures grew up in that. If you go on Google or even YouTube and you type in colorism and body shaming in Asian countries or in Asian cultures, you'll see that a lot of these people who speak about these things, they grew up being socialized to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to feel a certain way from a young age. Here's a few examples of what I'm talking about.
So I have a very unique experience with colorism in that in Black communities I'm considered light-skinned, but in Asian communities I'm considered dark-skinned. So I've kind of experienced both sides of the coin. But basically I did not like the way that I was treated solely for having darker skin tone, but I also noticed that there were a lot of classmates, friends and family that I had that were also like bullied or like made fun of for having darker skin. And as a child, I knew that it was discrimination based on skin color, but I didn't have a word for it. Like, it wasn't racism because Filipinos were making fun of other Filipinos for being dark, so it wasn't racism. But when I got older, now as an adult, I understand that this like color-based discrimination is known as colorism. As defined by Alice Walker in 1982, colorism is the preferential or prejudicial treatment of same-race people based solely on skin color. So Filipinos making fun of other Filipinos for being dark-skinned is colorism. The same way, I don't know if you remember this like stupid thing on Twitter back in like 2013 where it was like team light skin or team dark skin, like that is also colorism because they're all Black people, they're the same race, but it's based solely on skin color. For me personally, I knew that embracing my skin color was such a difficult thing for me to do. I didn't really become fully embraced with my skin color until I was 20 years old. I'm 24 now, so I have had like 4 years of liberation, you know what I mean? But it took me such a long time to be completely comfortable in my skin color.
Throughout the whole year, when I'm not doing anything much outside, I'm always the MAC shade NC30 and in winter NC25 or sometimes even 20. So the reason why I'm mentioning all this is because throughout my life I always noticed how people reacted differently or how I was treated differently when I was a certain type of skin shade. I usually always get compliments on the internet or in real life when I'm lighter like this, but whenever I get super tanned, it's like barely any compliments, or people just love to point it out like, oh my god, you got so dark, I almost didn't notice you, like damn, you got tan. Like, it's always something like this, you know? And I remember when I was much younger, I was walking with my mom outside in summer, and someone asked my mom if I was a mixed child and if my dad was Black because of my tan skin color in summer. And, you know, people just love to point it out when I got darker, and I don't want to throw anyone from my family under the bus, but I did also experience some mockery regarding darker skin tone, and just especially from Asian people in general. This is a big thing in Asia. Like, you always get singled out, made fun of if you are darker than the other.
Well, there you have it. Straight from the person who grew up in this culture, was born into the culture. So it's not just me saying all of this. Like, literally, you can hear that someone from the culture was not living a very, exciting childhood, because everything was just under scrutiny. And everything that I do source, so everything that I do talk about, I will always link it in the description, so you can go check it out for yourself, so that you don't just think I'm making these things up myself as I go. Then you can go check out the material and check out what's going on, and you will see all of these things that are happening, because they are happening, guys. They are happening. It's not something that we are imagining. They are happening. And you, as a viewer, you have every right to say what you want to say, because you're consuming this. You're spending time, money, you're traveling up and down to buy the material. You're traveling up and down to watch the people. Some of us, we sometimes buy tickets and we fly out to Korea, or we fly out to wherever they are going just to view them. And it's a lot of money. So we have every right to speak about this and talk about this. But unfortunately, these discussions are only circulating amongst us, and everybody else doesn't care. It doesn't care. They only care about making money. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys in another episode. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Bye.